Hi, this is Osman. I'm a master level energy healer with telepathic capabilities, specializing in critical care recovery and terminal illnesses. I'm also advanced level yoga and meditation teacher. Be sure to visit my website yogawellness786.com for more information on my services as well as contact information. Please also remember my therapies are all natural based and not a replacement for medical treatment. If you have a medical condition, please be sure to consult with and visit a qualified and registered medical professional in your locality. I want to discuss the Kundalini awakening myths. Today I had occasion to come across a video discussing a Kundalini awakening, and it was giving a description of the experience that the person became completely transformed immediately after the Kundalini awakening. And he claimed that he went to multiple gurus and teachers, and all this did not work. And eventually, just with breath work and his intention, it did awaken, together with a deep emotional feeling, right? So a combination of his emotional intention, deep emotional intention, together with breath work, awakened. And once it awakened, he felt it like a serpent spiraling and arising up his spinal column, and he became completely transformed. And his normal associates and friends, he felt he was no longer syncing with them, and he wanted to change his company. And also he went through a lot of emotional release of all pent-up emotions that was in him, and he didn't know. And he went through that release, but he felt truly amazing and one with himself and soul conscious, right? So let's dissect what he said, because he obviously, of course, I believe that the account could very well be true, because there's no discrepancy in his account that I could fault him in any way. But I could dissect some of the issues that perhaps he does not know, and the general public listening to that also may not know. So he said that he indicated, or it seemed to infer from his words, that he wasted his time going to multiple gurus and so forth and teachers, and eventually just the breath work and his own intention that worked. So with this I have a disagreement, because when he visited the gurus, they must have imparted into him the seed for the Kundalini awakening, right? So some teachers will immediately raise it for you, awaken it completely, and break through all the blockages, and make it very easy for the Kundalini to rise, and break all those emotional blockages and the emotional baggage, so that you don't necessarily have to go through all that as the Kundalini is rising, right? So when in his particular case, they must have put in the seed for the awakening, because you cannot sit on your own and make an intention and make it right. It's possible, but it's like also possible to win the lotto, right? So it's easier, I would say, to win the lotto than to awaken the Kundalini on your own, and make a statement that you wasted your time with all these teachers and gurus. So going to all the teachers and the gurus and spiritual leaders and guides, it actually built up or reduced the resistance for the awakening of the Kundalini. Because even in this sitting in the presence of a teacher who is woke, right? Or whose spirituality is advanced, or who's someone who has worked on his own spirituality. He will have that aura. You sit in that person's aura. That aura alone is cleansing. Even if the teacher doesn't want his aura to affect you, you just sit in his presence quietly, not even talking to him. It's going to influence you, and if you then, practice, then you're gonna, it's going to be that much easier. But you have to visit several times for the aura to, assist you more. Maybe you need multiple visits, or maybe his aura is so strong, just one visit is sufficient, right? So when you go and communicate and sit in the company of these teachers and visit multiple such teachers, so all this adds towards the cleansing of your own blockages and resistance towards the awakening of the kundalini. The kundalini will awaken when you are ready for it. You have overcome and absorbed most of the evolutionary processes, and by his visiting so many people, this definitely, in my opinion, and also from yoga sciences opinion, and scientifically from a yoga sciences perspective, will have the effect of making it that much easier. Because by just stating, any person listening on YouTube following some breath work is going to work, is not going to happen, right? It's not very easy for that to happen. There has to be some imparting of spirituality, or imparting the seed for it. So some of the teachers just puts in the seed and let you do the work, and if you do the work following some discipline, like meditation, just plain meditation, or meditation and yoga, hatha yoga, or the yogic posture, or meditation and just the breath work, or the breath work alone, right? And any one of those combinations is going to work, but the breath work is the pivot, the most important part that can speed up, the awakening, more than meditation alone, right? But if you combine breath work with meditation, is going to help that much more. And if you combine, with the hatha yoga practices, you create a very balanced awakening process, so that when the kundalini is awakened, you're not going to go through very extreme psychological or emotional releases that's going to affect you very deeply. And many people encounter, difficulty during this phase of release of all this pent-up emotions, that's in them when it's releasing, and they even become ill, from this. So the hatha yoga helps tremendously, but the main factor, if you have a proper spiritual guide that can guide you, and you follow his teaching, instead of going to 1,000 different spiritual, follow one that you believe and trust in, and follow his advice, and it's gonna be a smooth process. So when I assisted all my students who approached me, with the Kundalini awakening, no one had negative experiences, because before imparting, or teaching them the methods, I first did the unblocking of all the major blockages, along the energy centers, along the path of the spinal column, so that they don't have to encounter any major emotional release, with the Kundalini awakening. This is firstly. And also I awakened the spirituality before doing the unblocking, because to do the unblocking, you have to first awaken the spirituality. And then thirdly, I taught them a system that they can very safely awaken it in stages, not suddenly, like cold turkey, open the full power of the Kundalini. If that happens, it's very dangerous. You have to do it in stages, by stage, by stage, by stage. So the word Kundalini means coiled up, right? So coiled up in the sense that it can release like an uncoiling, like step by step, like a coil. It goes in larger and larger and larger concentric, and the largest circle is in the bottom, the last. So when it's uncoiling, you imagine the uncoiling first from the smaller part of it, and then it uncoils a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, till it comes to the full circumference, right? So from my experience, when one awakens the kundalini in the controlled manner, it comes with a small surge of energy, and once your body is attuned to it, then it automatically goes to the next higher level. And once your body becomes attuned to it, it goes to the next. It's not only your body, also your psychology. So you don't really experience any major upheaval in your psychology. You don't go through any major, downturn or psychosis, as most of the people who experience the kundalini, awakening experience, from my perspective, from my students, my method. So it happens so naturally that you don't, but it is evolving you and releasing it step by step, slowly, and you notice your life improving and changing, and your environment, the circle of people, slowly, within your control. Either your relationship or the way in which you connect with them changes, or you understand that they're not meant to be, or they're not beneficial, or you're not someone that is going to add value to your life, and they're not really interested in you, and you can move on to focusing on developing and maintaining relationships that are of more value to you. And you will also meet other people and make new connections, and may not be necessarily physical live people. It could be getting into new podcasts or new connections through social media that you are following, and influences that that can assist you. And you'll notice that you're evolving. The podcast that you used to listen and used to enjoy so much, it's no longer interesting, and you evolve to a higher level, other people, and you feel strange that these were such amazing podcasts in the past, and these topics and these talks used to interest you so much, but now it seems boring for you, so you start evolving, slowly, step by step. So this, coming back to the the video that I'm trying to explain. So this is very common on the internet, where people explaining the kundalini awakening, and a huge surge in everything that they experience. So this is where the kundalini is not controlled. The kundalini is controlling you. You don't have any control over the kundalini. So it's good to have a advanced master of this science who could teach you how you can gain control of it. So, because if it is uncontrolled, it can be very dangerous, extremely dangerous, causing psychosis, and very likely, and possibly, and unsurprisingly, you could be committed to a psychiatric institution for life, right? And if you have friends or family, or even the medical peers, or the medical professional, will find it necessary to have you institutionalized, and you will not be free to you'll be a prisoner for life, and you won't have the right to choose whether you're going to be released or not, until the medical professional deems that you are fit to be released. And you may not be fit to release, because these things become uncontrolled, and you enter into the release of some of the very pent up emotions that are so dangerous that you are not ready to release all of it, and it is what causes the psychosis. The other thing that could happen is when it rises up to the head, and you need to be able to lower it back to its resting place, so that you can work and communicate naturally, with the world, and not because it's difficult to deal with the day-to-day life activities with it awakened, because it's very difficult. You can't move around or walk around so easily. It's going to take you time to adapt, and it can take you decades, right? Or if you have the right teacher, you can learn it quickly. So what happens is it goes up to the head and gets stuck, and it can't come down, and you're going to have severe headaches, or you're going to have psychological distresses, that you're not ready to handle so much of baggage that suddenly explodes into your conscious mind, right, from your subconscious, because it's releasing it from your subconscious, right? And it releases too much too quickly, and it may be too much for you to handle, for your conscious mind to handle, and causes a problem. Also, when it gets stuck and you can't let it go down, it's especially when it's in full power, it's a major problem, right? So unless you have an advanced level yoga practitioner like myself to bring it down, you're not going to be able to bring it down on your own. But if you're going through it in a very safe protocol, which I teach, then it may get stuck, but get stuck on a low power level, because I allow it to release, in step by step, from the lowest power, slowly, incrementally, as you are ready, to automatically go in a natural manner according to what you are ready for. So it'll release little by little the emotional baggage within what you can handle, and also when it goes up and it's not on such a high power that you cannot bring it down. At will you can, because it's not in full power mode. You'll have the strength to bring it down, and then once you learn how to bring it down from a low power mode, you'll gain strength in how to bring it down. As it is evolving, your ability to bring it down on a daily basis also increases in strength proportionately, so that when it's in full power mode, when it's fully uncoiled and the largest power is coming up, right, surging through your body, if it gets stuck, you'll easily be able to bring it down, because you developed your power to control it step by step, right? So, listening to just, people on the internet, and these people, of course, they don't have knowledge, the very deep knowledge of the science, and most of the teachers also do not have a deep knowledge. I haven't met, teachers who have, a thorough knowledge on the science and a protocol, that is easy or still alive today and easy, that I can easily recommend you to go to. And because they haven't spent time, most of the teachers themselves, they quickly evolved in a particular pathway, and they, isolated themselves there, and they didn't widen the knowledge on the other theoretical aspects and the basic. It's such a vast, knowledge base, and so they're unable to. So it becomes dangerous from learning someone who doesn't have complete knowledge, but only has knowledge, limited knowledge in this field. So it is a very wide field, very dangerous field, and especially if someone is speaking on the internet, try to learn the background. So as I'm speaking on the internet, I'm practicing yoga meditation for almost 50 years. I'm teaching yoga and meditation for about 44 years to date. And I've studied it in depth and continuously advanced my theoretical knowledge throughout that period, right? And I've experienced the highest level of Saamadhi 5 times, and I'm not on the fully illumined level where I'm, fully on that level. But because I wanted to live my normal life as well, I didn't want to become, a monk and live, away from society and become abnormal. I've still got businesses to run, so I kept things in pace and in check. Of course, I can leave everything and just focus and go, into some monastery and focus on just, remaining on the highest level and, develop myself and remain in a blissful state and, leave the normal way of living. This is not something that I wanted to do. I want to live and I want to be an example of how regular people can engage in these things very safely without giving up your family, without giving up, your work and your income, and without going into extreme levels, and also maintaining a balanced life where you can, your diet can be, as you choose, and have everything in balance, right? So hope this information helps you. Take care of yourself always.